Now she's pushing for racial justice as a founding member of Black Theater United. The organization seeks to protect members of the Black theater community and Black lives across this country. The group calls for awareness, accountability, advocacy, and action. Audra McDonald joins us now. Hey, Audra, very, very good to see you. I love your voice. Nobody sounds like you. I'm good, but not as good as you. Audra, this is the thing. All of us were deeply affected by the death of George Floyd, and you said that the theater community was eerily silent. What did you mean by that? Does the theater community normally speak up?
Yes, the theater community comes together to raise awareness for lots of issues, LGBTQ issues, the issues with immigration, things like that. But when the George Floyd murder happened, it just felt a little too silent from the theater community, and a lot of us were very aware of that. And so
That bothered you?
my friend LaShawn. Yes, it did. It absolutely bothered me. Yes, and my friend LaShawn, who's another great in the Broadway community, and I started texting saying, we need to do something. We need to make some noise. We need to sort of try and affect change in whatever way we can. And so we got together with a bunch of our friends, Norm Lewis, Brian Stokes Mitchell, Anna DeVere Smith, Vanessa Williams, people like that, and we thought, let's bring our community together and start to raise awareness and work on the micro issue of systemic racism within the theater community and then the macro issue of systemic racism within our country. And so
you call it micro and macro, Audra. Explain the difference, if you could, briefly.
Well, because I think of it in terms of, if you have your entire house on fire, which is systemic racism and brutality within the country, that's the macro. And then the micro is within our own theatrical community, making sure that we have more diversity, we have more representation, we have representation on and off stage and in decision making and positions of leadership and whatnot. So that's the micro, the theatrical community. But the macro is what's going on in our country. And so we've been partnering with an organization called Fair Count, which was founded by Stacey Abrams, to bring awareness to the fact that registering for the census is very important, and that Black and brown people are undercounted usually by about 10%, and it's even more so this year because of COVID. But registering in the census allocates over $1 trillion to communities, and if those communities aren't standing up and aren't counted, then they won't receive that money, and that money goes to resources for medical and roads and schools, and it's about districting as well. So that's why we wanted to raise as much awareness as we can. We've started with a PSA now to really raise awareness.
Yeah, I saw that PSA. Listen, all of the names you named are people that we know. Billy Porter, of course.
Billy Porter, yes, he's one of the people in our one of the people in our PSA too, talking about only one of me and how important it is to register for the census.
But you also included we're looking at the PSA now, but you also included technicians and stage managers, all the people that work behind the scenes. Why was it important to include that group as well?
Because that's also where we're very much underrepresented within the theatrical community. There are very few people of color in casting offices, in publicity offices, in stage management, in the hair and makeup unions, in the carpentry union, and that's just as important. We need to see representation on all sides and on all fronts. And we also need to open up the pipeline to make sure that young people who want to have a career in the theater have access and resources to get there. And that means more mentorship, more paid internships, things of that nature. So we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes as well, meeting with lots of different theater companies throughout the country, really, to just sort of raise awareness and sort of bring accountability.
Audra, when you have those conversations, it's Anthony Mason, when you have those conversations, what kind of response are you getting with the folks in power in the theater community?
A lot of people are very open. A lot of people realize that there is work that needs to be done, and sometimes it means educating people. We've also been holding town halls, too. We had Cheryl and Eiffel do one of our town halls, just to sort of address the moment and the moment in history that we're in, and educate a lot of people who, through the nature of the, if you want to call it white privilege or whatever, haven't had to really look at this issue at all. And now this is a moment in history where it's all staring us in the face, and it's a moment that we really need to take advantage of and make sure that we make substantive change.
So glad you're doing it, but you're also doing other things. We have an exclusive look of you playing Aretha Franklin's mom in the biopic. Her mom, Barbara, is her name. What did you learn about Aretha by playing her mother? And I'm wondering, did you bring your voice today? Because I sure would like to hear your favorite Aretha Franklin song. Oh, it's Natural Woman.
No, but it was wonderful getting a chance to play her mother and getting a chance to know a little bit more about Aretha by doing that. Her mother was a singer.
Yes,
Her mother
I
was a
heard
wonderful
that.
singer
I heard that.
and very close to her children, but unfortunately died when Aretha was just a little girl. And so Aretha didn't get much time with her mother, and yet she had a huge impact on her life.
Well, Audra McDonald, I'm so glad to see you. You sound good any time of the day. Thank you so much for
Thank
playing
you.
along, and you look great. Cheering you on always.
Thank you so much.
Cheering you on always.
Good to see you.
Good,
Thank you for
always
having
good to
me.
see you. We'll be right back.